Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night 22 of the overnight feed recaps for Big Brother season 26. It's Friday. Yay! Being Friday, it means we had an eviction yesterday. We've got a new HOH that we're going to talk about as well, and a lot of people posturing and preparing and getting ready and trying to figure out where their position is in the house. We had a lot of conversations last night once we came back from the HOH feeds being down. So we're going to talk about it all. Now, first of all, spoiler alert. For those of you who may not have seen the show last night, I am going to be talking about who was evicted last night. I'll be talking about who won the HOH and a whole lot of other conversations as well. So if you haven't seen last night's show, check it out and then come right back over here. All right. With that being said, let's talk about the episode real quick and get right into these feeds. Quinn went on the block as America's vote. Kind of expected. The more I was reading up, the more it seemed like Quinn was probably the pick by most people. And sure enough, Quinn went up on the block as expected. Tucker, as expected, I guess. Tucker saved himself by winning the BB arena. Now, he's very proud of himself, as he should be. But I'm saying right now, every time he wins one of these competitions, he just puts a bigger and bigger target on his back. We're in week number 3, and Tucker already is being looked at the same way people looked at Michael from a couple of seasons ago, just this comp beast that can't be beat. It's too early to be having to win a competition every single week to stay alive. I understand he wanted to do all of this. He wanted to control games and all. He's done too much, and now he's considered this person that's going to be hard to beat. Means people are going to be looking at more. But anyway, Tucker won the AI competition, so he took himself up off the block, which meant it came down to Quinn versus Kenny to go home. The house followed through on their promises they had made to each other that they would not send out whoever was America's choice pick, Quinn, in this situation. So instead, they sent Kenny out the door. A unanimous vote, except for Tucker, who still went ahead and voted to send Quinn out. Everyone else, including Angela, everyone else voted to send Kenny out the door. Now, I'll say this. I was cheering for the older guy, right? You know, I got to cheer for the older guy. I was hoping that Kenny would figure the game out and go a little further, but he just didn't seem to be ready for this game. He never really seemed to vibe with most of the house guests. He barely played a strategic or social game. He enjoyed watching the game, playing the game mentally from the couch, but playing in the house, he just didn't work out for Kenny. It's harder than it looks. I'm telling you, it's harder than it looks. So I empathize with Kenny. It was time for him to go. I didn't want another week of him. Maybe I'll self-evict. Kenny, glad you got your experience, but it was time. So congratulations to those who survived the block. We now have our third pre-jury person in the form of Kenny. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the HOH. I don't want to make y'all sit here for forever before we reveal. So let me just not bury the lead and say we do have a new HOH. That HOH is Angela. Who was betting that Angela would win HOH? Not many. I guarantee that. Yeah, Angela won the second HOH. I think I saw somewhere saying that Angela is now the fastest repeat HOH winner in Big Brother history. Is that right? I haven't checked it to verify. Yeah, talk about comp beast. Well, here you go, Angela. Angela won HOH. We'll talk more about that later, the competition and everything else, but just wanted to let y'all know. Angela is the HOH. Isn't that something? All right, feeds were back almost immediately after the live eviction show on the East Coast Central Time Zone feeds. Feeds came back almost immediately. We did have some conversations before they went away for the HOH competition. Tucker is saying that now he just needs to win the HOH, and if he does that, then Quinn can't put him up, assuming that Quinn uses his power, which we're going to make that assumption from this point on. He's going to use it. So Tucker's saying, all I got to do is win HOH, and then Quinn won't be able to come after me. He's telling this to Joseph. Joseph is acting like he's not a huge Big Brother fan and says, oh, I hadn't thought about that yeah, you'd be safe if Joseph he knows all of this, but he's playing dumb for the benefit of Tucker. But Tucker understood the last step he had to take in order to be safe this week. Well, as we know, it didn't quite work out. All right, we've got Tucker and Rabina talking to each other. The showmance that could be, might be, probably will be, unless someone heads out the door a little too early. But Tucker and Robina talking. He is still very pumped up. The adrenaline's still rushing from him, seems like, from the competition and stuff. He's talking. Tucker and Quinn both spent a lot of time talking loud and excitedly and everything else. I think it just shows that after a couple of days of waiting, not knowing what was going on, by the time we got to this show and these competitions and votes, etc., these guys were pumped full of adrenaline, as were the rest of the house guests, because they were certainly still a little ramped up throughout the evening. But Tucker is talking to Robina. He's complaining about Quinn's speech. Quinn called him a double-dealing dirty rat. I don't know. And he quoted some past post-house guest, or mentioned some post-house guests like America and everything. But Tucker's upset with Quinn's speech, that basically he called out Tucker. Talking about him, he was trying to be funny and all that. And he's saying that if before that speech over with Quinn, and that Quinn handled everything pretty well up until that speech, and after that, it's not going to work after Quinn called him out. So now he's going after Quinn. He knows what his target is. All right, we've got Tucker and Rubina still talking, but now we've got Brooklyn and T-Core and Chemo, and I think they're in the Rock bedroom. We've got a new alliance, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. These five, again, Tucker and Rubina, T-Core and Chemo, and then throw Brooklyn as the fifth, have formed a new alliance called the 5 Points Alliance. We'll see how much legs this thing has underneath them. Tucker is already telling them, though, saying, hey, look, just so you know, I may also get in a group with MJ and Chelsea, because each of them approached me earlier. So I may just get in with them just to see what they know and see what their plans are and all that. But my true support is for you four folks. The 5 points is where it's at. So we've got a new alliance. I may reach out with a couple other people, because you can't say no, but it's just to find out information. Y'all are the guys I want to ride with to the end. Yeah, we'll see. So the 5 Points Alliance, kind of two duos, and then Brooklyn thrown in there as a fifth. We later have T-Core and Chemo talking about this and just the game in general. They're a little worried about their next move. They realize that, yeah, they're part of the collective alliance, which is still kind of a thing for now. Seems like Cedric maybe is a little into it. Everyone else maybe not so much. People are looking for other landing spots. That alliance is just too big. But for now, it is. It's out there. So Tucker and Chemo are talking. T-Core, take that. T-Core and Chemo are talking about their next move. They realize that they are at the bottom of the collective alliance, so it's not where they want to stay. They think that Tucker will keep them and work with them and protect them as long as it benefits them. I think Chemo said something like, yeah, he'll do all of that as long as he does, until he doesn't. Yeah, at some point, they don't feel like they can trust him to carry them to the very end. And they're probably right in that assumption. They think that, or the T-Core is saying that this new alliance, she says, great, we're the 5 points. We've got an alliance. We've created a name. She said, but we haven't even talked strategy yet. We haven't even talked moves. We're just saying we'll work with each other, and that's the end of it. We need to do a little bit more than that if this is actually going to be an alliance. She's got a point there. T-Core is saying that she isn't really ready for Quinn to go anywhere yet. She understands Tucker wants to go after Quinn and all that, but she's saying, I really don't want to get rid of Quinn just yet, because he benefits our game, and basically the same with Chelsea. I don't want her going anywhere. Yeah, we can work with this 5 Points Alliance, but we got to protect those two people as well. She does say as well that we're going to need to win something at some point so we can get Tucker out of this game. And Chemo's response said, whoever gets Tucker out, that's a huge thing to put down on your resume at the end of the season. So, yeah, 5 Point Alliance. We've already got people looking at the end game that maybe doesn't include everyone in that alliance. But for now, welcome aboard, guys, and let's see where this alliance takes us. All right, we've got Angela and Tucker talking to each other. Angela feeling very indebted to Tucker because he used that veto on her. It could have been a whole different week without that in a whole lot of different ways. But she's feeling very indebted to him about it. So as a result, these two now are pledging eternal loyalty to each other, and we'll protect each other to the end, and on and on and on and on. Angela is saying 100% Brooklyn and Chelsea and Rubina are running the show with the girls. They're the leaders. They're controlling everything that happens with that. Tucker's not disagreeing with her. They're talking about, Angela says, hey, look, they're all kissing your tail. right now because they're scared of you. But yeah, that's all they're doing. They're running the show. You aren't their prime directive. And Tucker said, yeah, I could see that. And he mentions Rubina, says Rubina's being a little flirty as well. So yeah, I know the girls are playing their game. All right, we've got Quinn talking to Joseph, saying that he's thinking that he'll probably put up Angela and Tucker and maybe Rubina with his power. Again, he's using his power, and he's already thinking about the 3 targets. Now, this is before HOH hits, so he's going to have to make some changes afterwards. But for right now, Angela, Tucker, and Rubina. All right, those are conversations before HOH. Feeds went down around 8:30 or so Big Brother time. Came back about an hour and a half or so later, so about midnight Houston time. I didn't know. I really thought this could be an endurance competition. Sitting there watching with one eye opening, thinking, am I going to get a little nap tonight if it's a pressure cooker or something else? No, just about the time I was debating calling it quits, the feeds come back on. We quickly see Angela's got the house key around her neck. Talking about a little bit of a shock when I saw that. But yeah, as mentioned before previously, Angela has won HOH. Apparently the competition was some kind of a video, former house guest talking, saying something, you don't know what it was, but some kind of video narrated by former house guest. And afterwards, then the people competing for HOH had to answer questions. But it also sounds like it was one of those where it's 2 people at a time. Whoever buzzes in first or buzzes in correctly stays alive. The loser is eliminated. The winner picks 2 additional people then to come up and compete. So you work your way through the whole thing. A great competition to force people to declare their loyalties. Let me say this about comparing this season to my season. First of all, I never got a competition where you pick 2 people at a time. I wish I had, just to force that big alliance that I was fighting against to declare, to force them to show who in that alliance they were most loyal to, least loyal to. Never got it. We had another HOH competition that was not a physical competition. By this time in my season, Lord knows how many physical comps we had already had to do. It's just a new season of Big Brother. The games have changed a little bit, split a little more diversified in terms of physical, mental skills, etc. I like to see it. I wish I'd seen it during my season, but it was a video type question involving picking 2 house guests. I'm really curious because we don't know that much about the picks. We know a little bit. Angela and Brooklyn had a little beef based on some picks, and we'll talk about that. But we don't know a lot about how the picks took place, who picked who, and all that. I'm really curious when we watch the episode on CBS to see who picked who, because it does force people to show loyalties. The Pentagon, the Collective, all these different alliances, were they loyal to each other, or were there people maybe picking some folks that they were a little close to, just to try to make it look like they weren't quite as close to one another? It's going to be very interesting. And apparently Cam came in second. Angela came in first. Did Angela win just because both sides were so busy trying to get out the other side? That Tucker was so busy going after Quinn. Quinn was so busy going after Tucker that they just kind of ignored Angela until it was too late. Cam, I'm sure no one was saying, oh, Cam's the one we got to get out first on this either. So maybe these 2 kind of floated through a little bit. Now, Angela did mention that she got picked a lot, so maybe that's not the case. I want to see the episode, though. But at the end, Angela won the HOH. Quinn is not even pretending that Angela actually has a say this week. He's telling the house guests that he wants to have one-on-ones with everyone this morning. He wants to have one-on-ones with everyone, and hopefully he can be done by noon. He's going to come downstairs, hop in the shower as quick as he can, and just talk to everyone. And we'll talk about that more in a second. Mackenzie, not feeling real great with the way things have turned out. Mackenzie is worried. She's telling T-Core that she's really scared because she hasn't talked game with Angela since week 1, and she just cringes even thinking about having to do so. Why worry? Why even bother with it, Mackenzie? I mean, I do it because you still always want to build bridges in this game, but Angela's powerless. She does. We know that Quinn is going to use his power, so Angela really is powerless. Go talk to her. Don't go in a position of begging and pleading and hoping you can convince Angela. Go in knowing that Angela's powerless, and go in thinking that you're going to get as much information as you can get from Angela while the opportunity presents itself. That's the way, if I was Mackenzie, I would be handling this. But Mackenzie's just worried, figuring that she's got to go in and kiss up to Angela a little bit, and they just haven't talked games since Matt in week 1 and all of that. All right, T-Core is reminding MJ, saying, look, whatever happens, she says, first of all, I'll talk good about you when I talk to Angela. I'll get your back as much as I can. But she says at the end, it's all about numbers. Regardless of what happens, it comes down to a vote on Thursday. And as long as you've got the numbers, you're going to be okay. So yeah, keep that in mind. All right, we got Tucker talking to Rabina. He's telling Rabina that he's going to tell Angela to go ahead and put him on the block. Just don't even wait. I know I'm going to go on. Go ahead and put me on the block right now. And his thinking is that if Angela does that, it may allow her to get a little closer to Quinn, because she's going to put up someone that she knows that Quinn wants to put up, and it's going to be like an olive branch kind of deal. I'm not sure the relationship between Angela and Quinn is enough that that's going to make a huge difference. But Tucker's saying, yeah, I know I'm going. I'm just going to put me up, Angela. It's no big deal. Tucker is thinking that Quinn, now this is where we see throughout the evening, Tucker doesn't completely understand what this power that Quinn has is. Tucker is thinking that Quinn is only going to use the power if Tucker isn't up there. If I'm up there, then he may not even use it. And then Angela, yeah, I'm up there, but maybe you've got an opportunity to put a couple of people that you kind of want up there as well. And is Tucker saying this as a way to protect Rabina again? That maybe if she would go for it, that maybe, I don't know. But it doesn't matter, because Quinn will use it because he doesn't want to control just the nominations, but he also wants to have a chance to control the renomination in case the veto power is used. Tucker isn't getting that. And so Tucker's saying, hey, if you put me up, then maybe he won't even use the power. We also found out later, Tucker says that he thinks his power lasts for 6 weeks. So maybe Quinn would not use it this week. Again, he's wrong. He doesn't understand. I think Big Brother production, I was going to say, we'll clarify. Maybe not. This is supposed to be a secret power. So you may just have to make assumptions. Now, Quinn is not allowed to lie about his power. So if Tucker asks Quinn directly, Quinn can either tell him the truth or not say anything at all. But yeah, Tucker's not really understanding exactly how this power just works, and is thinking maybe he won't use it. He's going to use it. So we've got that. MJ at one point comes in, and she and Tucker are both feeling like they're going to be on the block. Very, very likely possibility. Mackenzie and Tucker are also questioning whether Angela will even pick if Quinn uses this power. In other words, and this is what I don't understand. Is Angela going to make her 3 noms and say, oh, this nomination ceremony is over, and then suddenly poof, bang, and now here's Ainsley saying, oh, no, actually, there's been a secret HOH picked, and these are the actual selections. Is it going to work like that? Or as soon as Angela stands up and says, this is the nomination ceremony, then Ainsley pops up and says, yeah, you don't get to do it, Angela. So we don't know if Angela gets to even mention 3 names, or it's just going to immediately turn over to Quinn using his power. We'll find out. I don't know if we'll find out before today. So probably we won't. We'll find out, though. So anyway, we've got that. But so they're wondering about whether Angela will even get the chance to pick, whether this is all just arguments from Moot about putting Tucker up or not putting him up. Tucker is talking to Mackenzie a little bit, saying, Quinn has at least 5 final 2s. I think this is mentioned a little bit later with Chelsea as well, but he's saying Quinn's got a lot of connections in this house. We should have gotten them out while we could have. All right, MJ is telling Brooklyn that she had talked to Angela, and that she hated to do it, but she talked to Angela, and that Angela was very saucy. That's the term that I'm pretty sure Mackenzie used, if I recall. She's saying that Angela just did not like Mackenzie's assumption that Quinn would use the power. Mackenzie had said something like, oh, when he makes his picks or something, and Angela had said, when he makes his picks. Sounding, according to Mackenzie, sounding a little offended that she would even talk about Quinn's picks and not Angela's. So yeah, Angela feeling like she didn't get enough respect maybe from Mackenzie, perhaps. And we're hearing this from Mackenzie's side. But she's saying that Angela has suggested to her that Quinn won't use his power because he'll like who Angela picks. As long as he likes who Angela's selections are, why even use it? No, Angela apparently doesn't understand the power completely either. That's not the way it's going to work. You want to control the entire week, including the renom, so the power will be used, even if he 100% agrees with Angela's picks. Now, Angela should be she should be trying to put up who Quinn, I think, wants to put up, so she doesn't get any more blood on her hands. So she can go to those three people and say, it's nothing against you. It's absolutely not. I know he told me that's who he wants to put up, and I'm just making it easier. And why put up people that are going to get pulled off the block and make it look like Angela wanted them up and Quinn then had the opportunity to save them? Yeah, you don't want that. So figure out who Quinn wants up, put up those three people, in my opinion. But yeah, so there, she says that. MJ later talked to Angela up in the HOH room, and Angela said that she sees Mackenzie as being athletic, as smart, intelligent, that she would love to work with Mackenzie going forward, that there's nothing Mackenzie has done that's stopped them from being able to do that. So really, Angela's reaching out to Mackenzie and saying, yeah, I'd love to work with you. I didn't get a chance during my first week HOH to really bond with you ladies, and I kind of overdid a lot of stuff. And she says, but I would love to work with you. We don't even have to call it an official alliance name. Let's just watch each other's backs. But I want to work with you, Mackenzie. You're good with me. You don't have to worry. We'll see. We'll see if these two can get along. Mackenzie is saying that had responded at that conversation to Angela, saying, look, I'm part of nothing right now. I got nothing. All these other people have all these lines. I got nothing, Angela. So I'd love to work with you and see what happens with that. All right, we've got Angela and Tucker now talking to one another. Angela's complaining that Brooklyn is very mad at her because apparently during this, remember, HOH comp, you pick two people to go up. Apparently Angela picked Brooklyn to be one of the two to go up, and then turned around on her very next pick and told her to go up again. Picked Brooklyn twice in a row, which apparently Brooklyn did not appreciate whatsoever. Angela saying a lot of us went up. A whole lot of us went up. It wasn't anything personal, but Brooklyn is just mad because I put her up twice in a row. Tucker is talking about these nominations, and he's suggesting to Angela that, hey, maybe you could put up Quinn and Cedric on the block. He says, as long as you put those two up, I don't really care. He says, yeah, I know he'll use the power, but you're going to force him to use the power. Again, I think Tucker's thinking this could be 6 weeks. So put them up, force him to use the power. He kept saying expose the power. It's been exposed. We all know that Quinn's got it. But he's looking at that as a way to force the power to be used this week. Regardless of who goes up, it'll be used this week. Tucker says he knows that he's going up no matter what. And again, this Angela show her side this quickly. Does she put up Cedric and Angela and basically put up Cedric and Quinn and basically draw that line in the sand that I'm on Tucker's side, y'all are on the other side, this is the way it's going to be done? Or does she just try to work with Quinn knowing it doesn't matter anyway? There may be a little ego to that. Does she make her own picks just to show that she can? So at least she has a little control, even if it changes immediately afterwards. I don't know. But Tucker is suggesting that. And Tucker's saying that if he had won, he would have put up Cedric and Quinn and Leah. Those would have been his three picks. Angela is saying that she doesn't want to alienate the ladies by putting Brooklyn up. You remember they just got done. She said, "Oh, the Brooklyn, they're running the girls' side. Brooklyn and Rubina, and I think Mackenzie is." And she said, "I don't want to put any of them up." Specifically, she says Brooklyn, because I'll just alienate their side. Yeah, there's no need to do that, Angela. Tucker is saying that he threw away all of his alliances that he had put together in his quest to get Quinn out. And now at this point in the game, he doesn't feel like he can trust anyone. That really Angela is, of everyone in the house, Angela is the one person he feels like he can trust more than anyone else. And Angela's saying the same thing, ride or dies, we're to the end and all that. These two have got each other and maybe not a whole lot else. Well, Tucker may have Rubina. Maybe not. All right, we've got Angela and Brooklyn now hashing out some of this, what happened in the HOH. Angela saying it's nothing personal. She just wanted the win. She looked over. She saw how focused Brooklyn was. She knew Brooklyn wanted the win, and that Brooklyn had a good chance of winning this thing. And Angela just did what she had to do to get the win. It was not personal. Brooklyn saying something about, I just figured, me being a mom and all, you being a mom, that maybe there'd be a little more sympathy for each other. And Angela saying, I just wanted the win, but I hope you understand. It's never personal, right? At the end, they kind of hug it out. I'm not sure they completely buried the hatchet, but they've agreed on the surface that everything's good. All right, we've got Brooklyn and Rubina talking afterwards. Brooklyn is kind of rehashing the conversation with Angela, saying Angela wanted to win so she could do over week number 1, that she felt like she just did a lot of things wrong in week 1. Yeah, a few things. And so Angela wants a chance to redo week number 1. Well, Angela, you're not going to really get the chance because other than the room, the letter, and the music, you don't have a whole lot to do this week to prove yourself differently. But she's going to try. And Brooklyn is basically saying about this whole thing, she's thinking Angela won't even be picking noms this week, that she'll never even have that opportunity. All right, we've got Quinn and Brooklyn and Cedric and Chelsea talking. So what is that? It's a Pentagon, more or less, right? I think so. Yeah. Quinn is thinking that Tucker and Mackenzie and maybe Rubina now will be on the block since Angela's off. So maybe Rubina's going to have to be the third person up instead. Cedric makes an interesting offer. Cedric says, hey, why don't you, Quinn, when you take over, why don't you put me on the block as a pawn against MJ and Tucker? And that way I'm guaranteed to compete in the veto competition. And hopefully maybe I could win the veto and force keep Tucker from winning it. So I would be willing to be a pawn this week to make that happen. Tucker or Quinn is saying, would you really do that? And he said, I'd feel really bad if I put you on the block after everything you did for me last week, revealing they were coming after me and all that. And Cedric says, no, I'll do whatever it takes for the group. If I'm Quinn, I'm taking that in a heartbeat for 2 reasons. One, Cedric is a competitor. It is going to make it a little less likely that Tucker can win this veto competition. So that certainly helps. 2, I feel like it then sends the focus back on Cedric versus Tucker as opposed to being Tucker versus Quinn. So for those reasons alone, I think I would probably go with that and end up putting Cedric on as a third person. We'll see if it happens or not. We're going to find out today. All right, we've got Quinn and Chemo and T-Core talking. Chemo is talking about the Pentagon Alliance, asking about how that's working. Quinn is saying, look, Cedric and Brooklyn, they still like me. They still want to work with me, so we're good on that. He thinks Chelsea is the best player in the game. He says, but we just don't talk a lot of games. So Chelsea, I'm not really sure. And Cam, I don't even know if he mentioned that. He says, at one point, I thought Cam was the best player. Maybe he didn't think that so much. Is Cam even still in the house? I need to go back and watch the video, see if he was there at the eviction night or anything else. Cam is just a non-presence right now in the house. Now, maybe that'll change, but for right now, Cam not contributing a whole lot to gameplay taking place in this house. And now that we aren't seeing as much of the flirtations with Leah, Cam's just disappeared. So yeah, Cam up the game a little bit here. All right, we've got Quinn talking to Rubina. He's telling Rubina that he absolutely is using the power. No surprise there. Rubina is thinking that Angela just doesn't understand the power and that she's saying she thinks she can convince you not to use it. Nah, that's not the case. Quinn's saying he's obviously putting up Tucker, but he's going to do one-on-ones and figure out where people are at to figure out the rest of them. He wants to figure out who has the best chance to keep Tucker on the block. He's gonna ask some weighted questions to see who would be willing to pull Tucker off or versus not pulling Tucker off, and use that to put up people. But also he wants to pick people that have the best chance to make sure Tucker stays up there. Now, does that mean maybe pick some athletic people that could win veto instead of Tucker? Like in MJ seems like a possibility. Cedric has volunteered. Would he put up Cam with the idea that Cam could maybe also win the veto and keep Tucker from winning it? Don't know. We'll see. Would he be willing to put up that many people from his side? Probably not. While he's trying to build trust here, but he's saying he's going to really just pick based on his one goal. His focus is to get Tucker out of the house. Whatever makes that the most likely is what he's going to do. He's going to ask questions like, would you take Tucker off the block? I think, as I just mentioned, he's talking about how much Angela still hates him at this point in the game. That, we kind of, maybe we have to talk a little bit because of, her HOH and me with the hijack and all. But he's saying she still hates me. She does not like me at all. Angela better be careful. Angela thinks right now that she has control of the house, that, yeah, maybe it'll short circuit a little bit because she knows about the power. But Angela is assuming that she has power in this house, that she can demand things and get information and create some alliances, some bonds, all that stuff that you normally get as an HOH. She thinks that she has that. But in the reality, she is the Walking Dead. She is a lame duck HOH before it even begins. She has no power because Quinn has it all, and she can't even compete the following week. So she is perhaps in some ways in the worst position of everyone in the house. She's the one person that can't fight for HOH next week. She better be careful. She better be using this week of safety to bond and try to create bigger targets, create people pointing guns at each other instead of her, because she is going to be incredibly vulnerable the following week. And I think there's still a lot of people who would be perfectly fine to put Angela on the block, including Quinn. And we did learn last night that Quinn, just by hijacking this HOH, doesn't mean he can't compete the following week for HOH. So he'll be in play next week as well. Angela's got to be careful. It's not an easy path yet, Angela. Don't be assuming it is. All right, we got the house guests, got the backyard back. So the house guests are all excited about that they can go outside. They're outside playing games, marry, kill, evict, doing a little Big Brother dance, things like that, just having fun in the house. We've got Tucker and Chelsea and Mackenzie talking a little bit. Tucker is saying that he would have tried to smooth things out with Quinn until Quinn called him out in this jury speech, talking about how strong a player Quinn is. He's talking about the fact that Quinn has slept in so many rooms just to get information. Remember, the girls talk about that a little bit, saying, now that we know he had the power, was he sleeping in here just to try to kind of worm his way in with us, or was it really trying to be friendly? And Tucker's saying the same thing. He slept in all these different rooms just to get information. Tucker is saying that Quinn is in groups with everyone else in this house. Mackenzie's immediately saying, yeah, he's not in a group with me, which is true. Chelsea's saying, he's not in a group with me, which is not so true. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pentagon Alliance, the Collective Alliance. But they're saying, yeah, he's not in a group with me, but yeah, he is in a lot of groups. Tucker seems much more focused on Quinn right now than Cedric. Yeah, he was so hot and heavy against Cedric at the beginning of the week. Now it's all about Quinn. He just goes on and on throughout the evening against Quinn. Is Quinn Lisa 2.0? I feel like once Tucker focuses in on his target, on his objective, there's no getting him off the path. And so I think Quinn has become his second target after Lisa. We'll see if that changes. But right now, Quinn's only focus is to get Tucker out of the game. Tucker's only focus is to drag Quinn along and make sure he goes out as quickly as possible. House guests find out that they're not going to be have-nots again this week, so they're all happy for that. We did get the HOH room reveal. Everyone attended. Now, a few people looking a little less excited than others. Brooklyn, maybe not her top bucket list item for last night to see the HOH room, but you go up there and you do it. They're all up there doing that. Angela got her letter from her daughter and read that out loud. She got music from Tupac Shakur. No, she didn't. She got music from Fleetwood Mac. Later, she said that maybe that wasn't her top choice. For those, just a little FY, a little inside scoop. While you're in sequester, one of the things you do is you write down a list of albums that you would love to get if you're ever HOH, the top 10 or something, assuming you're going to be a comp beast and win 10 of them. But write down your listing of what you want as albums. And then from that, they'll try to send in what you've got. So apparently maybe that wasn't her top choice or her second choice. I don't know. Anyway, she says, all right, but not really what she wanted. But she got some Fleetwood Mac as her music. All right, we've got Quinn and Angela talking to each other. Everyone else had left the HOH room. They stayed up there for a while, but eventually they left the HOH room. We've got just Quinn and Angela left. They're talking to each other. They're kind of laughing about the fact that they've got this thing against each other, this animosity against each other. They're laughing, saying, yeah, it's kind of fun. It kind of makes it more exciting. But Angela, at one point, they're talking about maybe talking about these noms and, do we work together? Do we talk about it? Things like that. Eventually, Angela says, I'm kind of tired. Can we talk about it in the morning instead? And Quinn says, yeah, that's fine. Angela does, though, ask this. Just when you think they may just hold off to morning. Angela says, all right, but do tell me this. who are your hard nose that you just don't want up on the block? And Quinn says, well, chemo is a hard no. And she said, okay, well, I'm understandable. Who are your second, third hard nose? And Quinn won't tell her. He's saying, I'm not really going to say that because you told Tucker. Well, I told you about this power, and then you told Tucker. So why should I be telling you first, second, and third hard nose at this point in time? And she said, oh, I didn't tell Tucker. I didn't tell him that. Quinn saying, yeah, you did. I know you did. But she denies it the whole time. But at the end, he will not tell her who his second and third hard nose are. Why tell Angela anything? Why tell her that chemo's one of your hard nose? Don't tell her anything. Let her put up your hard nose and get the blood on her hands. If I'm Quinn, I'm not telling her anything. I'm saying assume you know who I'm going to put up, but I'm not telling you squat. You make your picks, and then I'll make my picks. Because otherwise, she's just going to blame this all on Quinn. So, yeah, I wouldn't be saying a word if I was Quinn at this point in time. Especially, he's saying she still hates him. So it's not as though they've got a kumbaya moment or anything here. All right. Cedric shows up at one point and tells Angela he understands if she puts him up, it's a game, and he knows how it works. And Cedric doesn't really care because he's not going to be up on the block that long anyway. He's even volunteering. So, yeah, put me up if you want to, Angela. Let me show you how much that affects me. All right, we've got Quinn and Brooklyn and Chelsea talking. Quinn is thinking that America just must love Tucker based on the vote itself. I'm telling you, Quinn may pretend like it doesn't affect him, that he apparently is hated, that Tucker is loved based on the vote. And maybe it doesn't. Maybe he sees himself as being the new Dr. Will, Evil Dick. Yeah, some people thrive on the idea that maybe they are the villain of the season. And maybe he's thinking that's cool and he'll embrace that role. If that's the case, then he may even push it more and try to become even more that kind of player. We'll see. But he's saying, yeah, America must just love Tucker to have had that vote take place. Quinn is saying that he's not sure that Tucker understands that Quinn controls not just the initial nominations, but also the renom in case someone uses a veto. And as we've seen, that's probably the case. Tucker does not understand that. Again, sure enough, Tucker's talking to Chemo about the same time and saying that, yeah, the power is good for 6 weeks. Wrong. And that he can't control the noms and the renoms. Wrong. He controls everything this week, Tucker. Yeah, you're in trouble. Tucker's only thing to save himself is going to be winning veto or winning the AIBB arena. Now, remember this. I thought at one point, could somehow he convince could Quinn leave Tucker off the initial nominations as a way to backdoor Tucker so he wouldn't have a chance to compete in veto and all of that? Is it possible? Yeah, maybe if he doesn't put Tucker up, then Tucker doesn't get a chance to play in veto. And if the noms are made, then he could put Tucker up. That may be a little too fancy for right now. I think it's just Quinn's going to be straightforward. Put him on the block. But yeah, wouldn't that be an interesting little thing if Tucker ended up not on the block as of today? But I think he will be. But yes, he controls the noms and the renoms both. All right, Chelsea and Cam and Cedric are talking. Not as much game talk. Really talking about past house guests, who their favorites are, things like that. Quinn knows a lot about past seasons of Big Brother. He mentioned a lot of people, so he's mentioned that. Cam and Cedric maybe not knowing quite as many of these people. All right, we've got Brooklyn talking to Quinn. The main part of the whole conversation is just her saying, I know that I'm your real final two. I know you got these other folks, but I'm your real final two. We'll see. We've got finally Joseph and Keemore and T-Core talking. They're wondering about a scenario of Tucker winning veto and then Mackenzie winning AI, so they're both off the block come Thursday. T-Core is saying, I know he mentioned maybe Rubina as the third pick, but I think I'd rather have Leah up there as the third nomination instead of Mackenzie. And something I maybe am going to suggest. Joseph, instead of looking forward, is still looking back. Joseph's still a little bit bothered that Quinn didn't reveal his power to him, to the group. So he's talking about that a little bit. Maybe the best thing said all night long, the best quote of the night came from T-Core here at the very end. She said, these sharks are eating each other so the fish can swim. What a cool statement. Because that's exactly what we got. We got these big power players on both sides that are pointing the guns at each other, trying to take each other out. And then you've got some of these folks who are just kind of, I hate to call them floaters, but yeah, to some degree, the folks that are just navigating the churning water and seeing their path towards the end. So yeah, as T-Core says, let the sharks go after each other, and us fishies will survive to fight another day. There you have it, guys. Lights off around 3:30 or so, Big Brother time. Everyone called it a night. I don't think anyone woke up since that point in time. 5:30 Houston. It was pretty much a full evening at that point. There you have it. Today we're going to have the nomination ceremony. We're going to have a bunch of one-on-ones and all that. I do expect it's going to be Tucker and Mackenzie and Rabina. Probably will be the three on the block, but we'll find out. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Friday. I'll be back tomorrow morning to let you know what did indeed happen, and I'm sure it's going to be another incredible 24 hours. But until tomorrow morning, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Go out and enjoy your Friday and your Friday night. Have a great one. Bye, guys.